Hey guys, so it has been a couple weeks since my last update and I'm still pregnant. I am 37 weeks and 3 days today. I had my 37-week appointment yesterday, I think it was. So that went pretty well. I found out that my Group B strep test came back negative, which is awesome news, and I'm so happy to finally have some good news in terms of, all these tests that they run on you during pregnancy. I finally have one that's negative, which is absolutely awesome for me. So that's great. We were in labor and delivery, I want to say Monday night, and we thought it was the real deal. Basically, I was just 37 weeks that day, and I was laying down at about 3 o'clock, and I started noticing that the contractions were kind of picking up. And since I've been contracting for weeks now, I don't really time them unless I kind of notice they're getting stronger or I feel like they're more frequent, just because I have at least one contraction every 20 minutes, and I've been that way for weeks now. So basically, I was timing them, and they were about 7 minutes apart for about 30 minutes. Then they dropped down to 5 minutes apart, and for like the remainder of that 30 minutes, so they were getting pretty close together, and then they kind of started getting a little bit painful, because before they weren't painful, they were just very tight. So then within the next hour, they started getting 2 minutes apart consistently for the remainder of that hour. So for about 2 hours, my contractions were getting stronger and closer, and they were getting painful. And I had one that actually had me kind of like double over in pain, and I was like, okay, this is it, like we need to go. So we packed our bag around 5-6 o'clock, I guess. We packed, I already had baby's bag packed. I had a couple more things to put in my bag that I couldn't leave in there, like my glasses and my contacts. And my husband's bag is mainly things that we can't just leave in the car, so like a charger, things like that. So we came home. I was still contracting, and the thing that kind of kept me from going in a rush was that while they were very close together, they weren't excruciatingly painful. And, I was talking to my doula about it, and I needed to go in and get checked at the very least, but I wasn't feeling like I needed to push. I wasn't feeling like anything extremely painful. But they were consistently 2 minutes apart. So we were on our way to the hospital, and they were about one and a half minutes apart at that point. So we pull up at the hospital, we go in, they hook me up, and I am contracting, minute and a half apart, pretty close together. So they're like, okay, we'll check you, and then basically we'll go from there. So they check me, and she said that I was 1 centimeter, which, if you guys remember, the last time I was checked, I was 34 weeks, and she said that I was a fingertip. So that's almost half a centimeter. So I wasn't a full centimeter, but they had to say I was, because they don't really measure things in halves. So I was about a fingertip at 34 weeks. So, I come in, and she's like, okay, you're about at a centimeter, you're 60%, and she said that baby was at station -2. So baby was definitely dropping behind my pelvic bone, which was great. So we were like, okay, basically what we're going to do is we're going to see if this is real. We're going to wait. We'll give you 2 hours to dilate at least 1 centimeter. So I should be at least a 2 in 2 hours. And then they'll consider it active labor and admit me. So we sat there for 2 hours, and we were bored, and it was so uncomfortable, and it was just horrible. And I was contracting. My contractions were getting really, really strong, and some of them were really, really painful. So I could have swore like this was it. We're going to have this baby. So they come back in 2 hours later, and a different nurse comes in to check my cervix. And she had short fingers, and she couldn't even get halfway in before I was screaming in pain. I don't know what the hell she was doing, because her fingers weren't fat, but I felt like she was like playing in there, and not a good kind of playing. I could feel her and almost see her like twisting her finger. I don't know what the hell she was doing, but it hurt. I was screaming in pain. She's like, well, I can't do this. I'm going to have to get somebody else. She was really rude. So she like rips her fingers out of me, and she's like, I'm just going to go find somebody else. And so like at this point I go to the bathroom, and I'm like crying. I am in there crying for like a couple minutes, and the reason why was because while she was inside of me, she's like, you're about to have a baby. I don't understand how you think you're gonna be able to do that when you can't handle this. And she like looked me in the eyes and said this to me, and like at the time it didn't bother me because I was in pain and she was inside of me, and it was really weird. But when I went to the bathroom, I just broke down. I was bawling. I felt weak. I was so ashamed of myself because I was just like, like I want to have this birth naturally, and I consider myself a very strong person, and I consider myself able to handle a good amount of pain. And for her to basically tell me that I was failing at it, I felt horrible, and I was just bawling. I was shaking. My whole body was shaking. Zeke, leave him alone. And I'm having a really tight contraction right now. And oh, sorry guys. Anyway, like my contractions, like they aren't painful. Like sometimes they are. Sometimes like I do have the cramping and they hurt bad. But for the most part, they're so tight that they knock my breath out, and like it's almost the tightness causes the pain, but it's not like a sharp pain. It's weird to explain. But anyway, so she comes back and she brings this like really tall, skinny lady. She probably was like me. Like I have really long fingers. And so which the long fingers shouldn't have mattered because she wasn't even in. Like she probably got to like about here on her finger before I started screaming. And I told her, I said, it feels like there's something sharp, like you're hitting something sharp on the left side. Like it was isolated to the left side. It almost felt like she had like fingernails or like a ring on or something. It was just like really bad. Like it wasn't the depth that was causing the pain at all. It was literally, I don't know. Anyway, so this girl comes in and I'm sitting here shaking and crying, and like she kind of had an attitude too. So I don't know why all these nurses, like I just don't get it. I know that you have a lot to deal with being a nurse, but there are people who go in there and this is their first time ever experiencing this, and they're scared and they're nervous, and they just want everything to work out okay. And when you come in there with an attitude and you treat people that way, like I just don't think that you should be a nurse. You have to have compassion to be a nurse. And pretty much every nurse that I've ever experienced in an ER, even doctors for that, have just been total dicks. I just don't understand it. So anyway, so she comes in and she like kind of has like a little snotty attitude or whatever. But like she has me sit down, or she has me lay down and bring my feet up, and like so she's like, okay, I'm gonna check you, and I'm sitting there crying. I'm like, can you just please go slow, because like basically like I just couldn't believe I had to go through this within another 5 minutes, and my first cervical check like didn't hurt, so I was just so frustrated. So like she's like, okay, like I'm gonna go in, and she went in and she's like, are you okay? And like I'm like breathing, and it was uncomfortable, but I wasn't in pain yet, and I was like, oh, she's probably not even there at the very end. And she goes, oh, okay. So then she starts telling her about my cervix and everything, and I can actually feel her like touching my cervix, and I didn't feel any pain at all. And then she goes out, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? So I don't know what the hell that lady was doing, like that caused me so much unbelievable pain. But Zeke, stop licking him. But anyway, so at that point she considered it, she said I was like 1 centimeter and a wiggle. She's like, I'm about 1.5. She's like, she wouldn't quite call me a 2. So, but I did thin out more. I was 70%, and baby was still a -2 is what she said. She said she might have dropped a little bit, but it wasn't significant. So they basically gave me the option. They're like, you can sit here and we'll check you again in another 2 hours since I'm still contracting very frequently, or I can go home. So I go home because I know that the longer I sit there, the longer that they will want to push pitocin on me or something else. And even though the contractions sucked and I would love to have my baby, I was like, I'll just go home and wait it out. And if I have to come back in another hour, then I will. But as of right now, I'm going to go home. So, it was kind of disappointing. But mainly more than anything, I was mad at myself because I wasn't able to handle whatever she was doing inside of me. And that was really, really upsetting to me because I just kept telling myself, like, how am I going to be able to give birth to this baby if I can't do this? And, I received a lot of support from friends and family and my doula, basically telling me things, just in terms of, when you give birth to a baby, there are specific hormones that your body releases to help you cope with the pain. And when you have a cervical check, there are not. So, with that being said, that was my labor and delivery experience so far. Nothing has come out of it. It is Thursday, and I'm still contracting. Contractions they have slowed down. They're obviously not a minute apart anymore. I have them about every 10 minutes, pretty consistently, especially throughout the night. They get very strong throughout the night. They wake me up, and I can't breathe, and I have to stand up because I don't know what it is, but the contractions, like the pressure, I can't handle it. So, I'm having them. What I've noticed is that they are getting stronger. When I do have them, they are tighter and they're getting more painful, but still, in my opinion, not something to rush to the hospital over, just because, they told me that I'm probably going to be one of those people who, it could take weeks or it could take a day, and I'm probably going to have to be checked pretty often. So basically, I'm hoping that one day I go in there and I wait long enough and they check me and they're like, whoa, you're a 7 or something, and it can go pretty quickly. So I'm hoping. So far, I'm kind of in gear for that as long as I keep staying at home. And, sorry guys, as long as I keep staying at home and everything should hopefully progress, and, but I have not had any blood, I guess. I've lost pieces of my mucus plug, but nothing significant. Obviously, it must be regenerating itself because I'm not having any issues. My water hasn't broken. I kind of had like a little bit of a scare. Let me shut off this light behind me. Maybe you guys can see me better. I had a little bit of a scare today. I was kind of bouncing on my yoga ball. I was doing 10 minutes on, taking a break, 10 minutes, and it was about 15 minutes in. I stood up and I felt something kind of come out, and I was like, oh shit, I think it's my water. And I looked through my shorts, and sure enough, like there's a nice spot on my shorts. It definitely was not pee, for sure. It was not. I did not pee myself. It did not smell like pee. It didn't look like pee. I'm wearing white underwear. I would have known, I think, if it was pee, but it was definitely not. But I also don't think it was my water, even though it dried like it would be my water, and it kind of smelled like it would be. But it stopped, so I don't know. It must have been just discharge. Hopefully that's a good sign. I have no idea. So that kind of sucks. So basically now I'm just playing a waiting game, and I'm getting very, very anxious. It's kind of like sitting on top of a roller coaster, and like that like you're about to drop, and you're like excited, but you're also scared, and you're just sitting there, and you're like it's gonna happen, but you like don't know when, except this is gonna be like a 3-week sitting on top of a roller coaster waiting for it to drop type of thing. So basically that's kind of where I'm at. I've just wanted, we've wanted this for so long. We've waited for so long to have our little girl, or just a baby in general. And now that we're so close to having her, it's put me in a spot of just so many different emotions, anxiety, a lot of anxiety. I'm scared, very, very scared to be a mom. I'm scared of how it's going to feel. Am I going to freak out? Am I going to just be too scared to do it? How am I going to feel? How is it going to change our lives? How are we going to be able to handle it together? There's just so many questions, and there's just a lot to think about when you have all this time to think about it. You just start to overthink, or I start to overthink, like, well, what is this? Like, what if this? Like, and, but mainly I'm excited. I, more than anything in the world, cannot wait to meet her. I cannot wait to hold her, and I love her so much already, and I just can't imagine what it would feel like because I've never experienced it. I can't imagine holding her. I can't imagine waking up and having a baby lying next to me in a bassinet. I can't imagine feeding her. I can't imagine watching her grow older, and I can't imagine it because I've never done it, and that makes it scary but exciting at the same time. And I'm just really, really, really ready to have her, to be honest. And I just can't believe, that I was, looking at Christmas gifts for my husband, and it hit me that we'll have a 1-month-old. And even though, she's not going to remember anything, and she's not going to be able to do much, probably still going to get her, like, a couple little things, maybe like some outfits or something, or maybe I'll get her cloth diapers, because that's more for me than her anyway. But, it's just crazy how quickly your life changes, and I'm just really ready for that change. I'm scared, but I'm really ready. And basically, I think that's kind of all I have for you guys. Just hanging in there. I think if there's anything else, I've started to swell, which I'm told is pretty normal when you're this pregnant. So I've started to swell, but my blood pressure's good. No protein in my urine, so that's great news. My legs hurt constantly. I've put on a lot of weight within the last couple weeks. They're actually saying I'm gaining too much weight at this point. But let's see, I was 150 at my last appointment. So I've gained 40 pounds so far, and I'm 37 weeks, and that's a lot for me considering I've always been like 100, 110 pounds. So my poor legs and my knees and my body, and we're just exhausted. I don't remember if I did. So if this is a repeat, I'm sorry. But she is measuring 6 pounds, 1 ounce as of 36 weeks. So I might have told you guys that. I don't remember if I had talked to you about my 36-week appointment. We did a growth scan. That's my last growth scan I'm going to have from what they told me. And she's measuring 6 pounds, 1 ounce at 36 weeks, which crazy because I was 6 pounds, 5 ounces when I was born full term, and so was my sister. So even though that's considered a small baby, that's, average for me or for my family. But my husband was average. He was about 7.5. So, but if I go full term with her, we're looking at probably about an 8-pound baby. It's kind of scary to me, but I have faith in my body. Sorry guys, I can't pause this. I got the new iPhone. Yes, I stayed up till like 2:30 in the morning to get it, and I finally got it, and I love it. But it doesn't have a pause button on its recording for some reason. I can't pause, I can only stop it. So even though I'd pause it and itch my nose so you guys don't have to see that, I can't pause it. So basically, sorry. Anyway though, I have faith in my body that regardless, that my body is growing a baby that I am fully capable of birthing. So that's my hope. Anyway, I think I have pictures of her. So this was, no, it was not. So I guess I only have them on my phone. I don't have an actual printout of them. But you guys can check my Instagram if you want to see her most recent picture. She still has really, really chunky cheeks. And she looks like a little chipmunk. And she's chunky. So that's that. She's just chunky. At 6 pounds right now. And she's probably closer to 6.5, maybe 7. Since it's been a while since that scan was taken. I'm out of breath because I stood up. Anyway, there's that. So, but everything else looks good. She's still a girl. Lots of fluid in there. She's really long, which could contribute to her weight. She may just be really long, but her face is really chunky, so she's probably just really chunky. I think that's about it. And I guess the last thing I can go over is my gestational diabetes. I'm still testing every now and then. I'm not testing as often. I don't know if that's because I'm getting closer to having her that I just kind of care less. Not exactly care less, but I'm just kind of over it. Or if it's because my doctor literally told me to stop checking, so I just kind of more relaxed about it. My numbers are still pretty great. I did kind of mess up. Breakfast is kind of getting hard for me unless I just have like pure protein, like a sausage biscuit or something. But carbs are definitely my enemy in the morning. But this morning I had oatmeal and orange juice. Orange juice is a big no-no for diabetes. If anybody knows, it is full of natural sugar that will spike the crap out of your blood sugar. So orange juice has been a big no. But if you guys remember, orange juice has been my biggest craving this pregnancy. I have been craving it since before we knew she was a little girl. That was my craving. I would drink like a whole carton of orange juice a day. And now they're like, you can have orange juice. Well, we were making orange chicken the other day, and we had to buy orange juice. And I was like, I'm going to have me a cup of that this morning with my oatmeal. And it was delicious, and I don't regret it. But at 2 hours, my number was 122, which is over where it should be. I should be under 120. Which they still, like, my doctor would laugh at me right now. He'd be like, that's nothing to worry about. Like, he would definitely just laugh at me. But it's high for me. Even though he would just kind of shrug it off because, you know, they're basically looking for a pattern or for numbers that, like, no matter what I do, I can't get down. But considering that I'm only spiking, and that's not even a spike. They consider a spike 200, so I just worry, you know that. I think that's it. I did decorate for Christmas already because when I have this newborn and I'm breastfeeding every 2 hours, I am not going to mentally be prepared to decorate everything. So we're finishing decorating the tree today, and then we will be ready for her when she comes. So I did do that. I guess the last thing that I have for you guys is I will show you my belly. I don't think it's gotten much bigger, but then again, I never really know until I compare it to like last week's picture, and I'm like, wow, I've gotten a lot bigger. But I have been gaining weight like crazy, so I guess I have been getting bigger. Yeah, so I guess that's the last thing that I have for you guys. So this is like the only t-shirt that fits me anymore. So anyway, so I will turn that light back on if it's easier to see. So as you can tell, I'm like poking out like crazy. None of my shirts fit me. It all sucks. But I'm huge, and itchy would be definitely it. These are the only stretch marks I have. I'm not ashamed of them. I'll never be ashamed of them, even if I would have gotten them everywhere. I didn't try to prevent them because I just thought it was silly. But yeah, I'm pretty much just like a big basketball at this point. It's just definitely very weird. And my poor piercing, it has no idea what it's doing at this point. The weird thing about my belly is that my tattoo that I have down here, I've had this tattoo since I was 18, so it's pretty old. But what I've noticed is when I sleep on, like, if I sleep on this side, when I wake up in the morning, like, I have, like, a pocket of, like, fluid right here. Like, I'm swelling really bad, mainly right here in this area. And if I sleep on this side, though, I don't get that. So I don't know if I have like water retention in my stomach, if that's a thing. I should probably call the doctor on it, even though it's nothing to worry about and he'll laugh at me. But like, you can kind of see it, probably not on here, but it feels bubbled and it does feel swollen. My tattoo does right here. So I don't know why. This tattoo has been healed for years and years and years. I've never had any issue with it. But I just feel like I have like this pocket of fluid right here, especially when I first wake up in the morning. So, but I mean, who knows? Honestly, who knows, guys? So other than that, that's all I have for you. I am going to try my best to keep active, be on the ball, clean a little bit, do those kind of things. So hopefully this will be the last video that I make pregnant, and my next one can be welcoming little Veda into the world. But as of right now, we'll see what happens. My next appointment is, I don't know, I go weekly now, so it's sometime next week. I think it's like Monday or Tuesday of next week. So I'll update you guys weekly now, or I'll at least try to update you guys weekly until I have her. And as I said, once I have her, the closest update you're going to get is probably going to be on Instagram. I might even do like a short little video introduction on Instagram instead of making a long video on YouTube. So that's all I have for you guys. I will see you later, and hopefully the next time that I see you, I will have a little baby with me. So thanks for watching.